let's talk about Leon Lowe books, because they are very, seems to be from the material on the website, very proud of the fact that it is an independent publisher.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Please tell us about Leon Lowe.
Yeah, Leon Lowe was published. Leon Lowe was started in 1991 by two men, Philip Lee and Tom Lowe, both of them of Asian descent, and both felt like there were not enough books in the world that portrayed contemporary children of color, and they wanted to rectify this gap in the market. And I believe they were one of the first. They weren't the first, but they were one of the first publishers devoted to doing this, like especially for children. And we're celebrating our 30th anniversary next year, which is great. Yeah, very exciting. Unfortunately, Mr. Lowe, old Mr. Lowe, Tom Lowe passed away this past year, and the company is now sons, Craig and Jason. And it's entirely owned by the Lowe family. So we don't have any corporate investors. We don't have anybody else telling us what we should publish. We are not subject to the whims of the stock market, like I said earlier. We are only subject to what we want to publish, what we think is important, and what we are excited to bring to our customers, who are, we have a lot of educational customers, a lot of teachers, and school districts that buy our books, and of course we also publish books into bookstores for the trade. So so we publish the books we like, and that's what it means to be independent, I would say, without being subject to the other pressures.
So, a question that I never know what's a good question to ask, and what's maybe verging on rudeness. I'm hoping this is in the good category. 16 years with Arthur Levine. You've got the Harry Potter cred. You could do anything, I would imagine. This might be another assumption that I'm just wrong, but I would think that Cheryl Klein, when you're editing, can go anywhere, do anything. Why Leon Lowe?
Well, I will say part of it. I had an amazing experience at Arthur A. Levine Books, and but I had sort of gone as far as I could go within a named imprint. You know, a named imprint is like a small ship, and there's always a captain. and I was never going to be the captain of that ship. And I'm a ambitious person. I wanted the opportunity to be an editorial director myself and work with younger editors and figure out what a list looked like and all those sort of things. And that's the way I think. That's the way I think most editors feel quite often. I mean, I think there are some of them who only ever want to edit, but a lot of us want to be like editorial director and work with other editors and direct a list and help put all that together. And that was a thing I wanted experience with, and it was just not a thing I could get experience with at Scholastic. I also really, at the time that all of this happened, it was 2016. It was right after the election. And the capital T, capital E, the election. And I was feeling very strongly and this is something that's been evolving throughout my career, but I'd always been interested in working with underrepresented authors and telling stories of underrepresented people, in part because it is good we need more stories like that in the world, obviously. But also for my own taste as a reader, it was just fascinating to discover new worlds that I, growing up with, had never met, or never encountered. One of the books I published at Scholastic, I published 2 books by Sarwat Chadha that were set in India, and they basically drew on Indian mythology, the goddess Kali, and the various demons in Indian mythology. And that was something I did not know anything about or hadn't encountered at all when I was a kid. I hadn't heard about it until I got to college and heard about comparative religions. So to bring that book out, to make those kinds of stories more widely available, to show kids that the world is so much bigger than what you might see growing up in Peculiar, Missouri. you know, like that felt really important to me. And it was both like a delight to me as a reader to be finding all these new worlds to read for myself and to be sharing those with kids. And it felt important to me, like particularly at that time, that that I be involved in uplifting the voices of marginalized writers. And I don't say that to make myself important in any way, because there are editors who have been doing this work for much longer than I have, and Arthur among them, my friend Nami Tripathi at Kokala Books, who does amazing books, Stacey Barney, a whole range of amazing editors, Nancy Paulson, who I very much admire. So I don't say this to like as a reflection of editorial ego or anything like that, but that was the sort of, if we were picking sides and after the election, that was the fight I wanted to be involved in. Like I wanted to be involved in putting more of these stories out there. And Lee and Low, we went through a long discussion process, I would say, as part of the interviewing, and Lee and Low felt like a good place to be doing that. So it was a nice opportunity for me to grow as an editor and a person at a time when I was ready for that challenge, and a time when I felt like I was really motivated to do more books by and about people of color, which is Lee and Low's whole mission. So that's why I chose to move.
Good for you. What a wonderful reaction to such a terrible event in 2016.
Well, it was again luck and timing and everything else, and yeah. So, which is most of publishing, is luck and timing.
I'm beginning to believe it. I really was suspicious before I started this podcast, and this is episode 100, and I think I've been convinced.
Hard work. I should not leave out hard work. Hard work makes a big difference, and I have done a fair amount of hard work in my time too. So, but yeah.